Hi, I'm Courtney Mims. On this edition of Commuter Connections, we're highlighting new ways to make your ride smoother and more enjoyable. First, MTA COO Joe Davis is here with tips on getting to Orioles games at Camden Yards. April is Autism Acceptance Month, and we'll talk with Director of the Office of People and Culture, Kelly Finner, about how MTA is supporting riders on the spectrum and a special connection between autism and trains. We'll also get an update from Allison Scott, the Director of the Light Rail Modernization Program, and hear from Director of Bus Maintenance, Mark Burkhart, about MTA's brand new bus fleet. Plus, we'll celebrate Women's History Month with a special package. And of course, check in with Social Media Manager Chris Moore for the latest Social Media Minute. All that and more coming up on Commuter Connections. Game day is always a big event, and MTA is proud to help fans get to and from Camden Yards. COO and Deputy Administrator Joe Davis joins us to share insider tips and the best ways to plan for your trip. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Let's hop right into it. What are the best MTA options for getting to Camden Yards?
Light rail, of course. It is really part of the game day experience. Great parking, easy access. Best way to get in and out of the stadium.
Are there any special schedules or additional transit options that are available?
So on game days, usually on weekends, we run express shuttle buses from Timonium Fairgrounds and also from the Cromwell Glen Burnie station to get folks right from those light rail stations right into the stadium. They don't have to stop at all the extra stops along the way, and it gets them there much quicker. And it also lessens the load a little bit on light rail, so it's not as crowded on game day for folks going into the stadium.
With gas prices where they are, we have a lot of first-time riders. What tips would you give to folks who are trying out the light rail for the first time?
The best advice is get there early and stay late. Early, if you can get there early, plan your day with family, maybe grab something to eat before the gates open and then head over to the stadium, kind of trickle in throughout the day. And then after the game's over, everybody comes out to the platform all in a big rush when the game is over. Maybe stay a little bit later. Let those folks get out of the stadium, get on the trains, thin out a little bit, and then you're able to walk right out to the platform, either at Camden or a convention center, and get right on the train and head out.
That's great advice. With that large group coming out, is there anything specific that MTA does to try to combat that surge?
So we stage trains. So we pay attention to the progress of the game. We have it timed out down to the minute on about how long an inning's going to last. And then we're also in constant communication with the staff at the Orioles and at Camden Yards. So if it starts to run over, we can bring those trains a little bit later. But the transit system's still running the whole time that the game is going on. So we have to bring those trains in, time them to get them in. And then we also stage a train in what's called the Camden Pocket, which is a piece of track that's right outside the stadium. So when the game's over, we can pull that train right up to the platform and get that crush load of people coming out right after the game.
And MTA recently partnered with the Orioles for 410 Day. Can you tell me a little bit about that partnership?
It was really great. It went off without a hitch. We partnered, it was MTA, City of Baltimore, Baltimore Create, and DTLR. We did free transit from 5 p.m. until midnight. Worked with the Orioles to celebrate April 10th, 410 Day, to get folks down to the stadium, maybe that don't experience an Orioles game, and come down and see all the celebration. I think they had special events going on and different things for kids, very family oriented, to get folks down there. We were happy to be a part of it.
And when transit isn't free, is there a preferred way that people should pay for their tickets?
We want to use the Charm Pass as much as possible. That helps us streamline, helps folks get in and out of the stadium much quicker. Also buying tickets, like if you're riding light rail, getting those tickets ahead of time and then getting on the train. If you're going to take bus, make sure you have the Charm Pass ready to go to show the bus operator when you walk onto the bus, because we don't want to hold the bus up, especially when we have so many folks coming in and out of the game.
And you mentioned Charm Pass. Are there any other tools or apps that riders should be aware of when planning a trip?
The transit app is fantastic. So like I said, if you're coming into Baltimore early, like if you want to ride the bus and you want to maybe stop at Lexington Market and get lunch or an early dinner before you head into the game, if you use the transit app, it's going to show you where our trains and our buses are in real time. It'll show you how long to the next stop. And then you can also use it to plan your trip coming out of the stadium, and it'll tell you when the next train and the next bus are going to show up.
Okay, and before I let you go, are there any lesser known options that people can take to get to Camden Yards?
The Metro. The Metro is fantastic. It's a short walk. It's not as crowded as the light rail or maybe taking a bus over to Convention Center light rail station. The Metro is great. You can get off right at Charles Center. It's a couple block walk down. Great access and not a lot of crowd.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for joining us.
No problem.
April is Autism Acceptance Month, and accessibility and awareness are more important than ever. Kelly Finner joins us to discuss how MTA is supporting riders with autism and the unique connection between trains and sensory experiences for the autism community. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Can you explain why April is so important for raising awareness and acceptance around autism?
Well, since April is Autism Acceptance Month, it's important how we show people on the spectrum the experiences in everyday spaces like public transportation. It's more than just an opportunity for them to move around. It's a place where they have real connections to.
And how does MTA support riders with making travel more accessible for those with autism?
Well, MTA partners with an organization called the Autism Transit Project. And this partnership creates a sense of familiarity in an environment where many of the riders already have a love for public transportation, especially with trains and buses. It is oftentimes they latch on to announcements or messages that they hear repeatedly.
Hey everybody, my name is Sean, and as part of Autism Acceptance Month, I would like to remind you all to ring the bell for your next stop. That's it. Happy Autism Acceptance Month.
So when they hear these messages, it helps them feel like they are a part of the environment, and it adds a layer of comfort and connection that makes the experience feel more accessible.
Tell us more about the special connection between autism and trains.
Well, many people on the spectrum, they have this love or this draw for mass transit, and our frontline workers experience it every day. We have some of our younger riders who have an affinity for trains and buses, so much so that they ask highly detailed questions. They even seek out opportunities to experience transit firsthand. It's not uncommon that sometimes you'll hear from a small child's first full sentence to be something like, "Stand clear, the door's closing." And that just lets us know how meaningful and impactful these announcements are.
That is beautiful. How long has MTA been partnering with the Autism Transit Project?
It's been about 3 years we've been partnering with them.
And how do these recorded messages help those young people on the spectrum?
It actually gives them a voice in a space where it's publicly heard. Oftentimes people on the spectrum are seen, but their voices aren't heard. So this gives them an opportunity to be publicly facing and have the public actually experience the connection that the people on the spectrum have.
And how does this initiative reflect MTA's broader commitment?
It reflects the broader commitment because it shows that it's more than just a physical infrastructure. It's about representation. It's about engagement. And it's about creating a transit system that every rider can feel safe, seen, and respected.
And how can the general public better understand and support these riders?
It first starts with awareness and understanding. Oftentimes when you are unaware or something doesn't touch your life personally, you don't even think about it. Us partnering with the Autism Transit Project brings it to the forefront. It allows everyone to be able to say, you know what? That's the first time I really paid attention to that announcement. I appreciate what they're doing. And then when you have an opportunity to interact with someone that may be on a spectrum, you'll remember these announcements, hopefully, and it just gives you a broader insight.
You always bring so much to the table when you come to join us. Thank you for coming today.
You're so welcome.
I moved all the way up here to go to law school at Maryland Carey Law School, and I currently take transit to get from Laurel, Maryland to Baltimore, Maryland. I drive to the MARC and I use that to go to school. I love it so much. It takes away the stress of driving. So the MARC Student Saver Program helped me financially by taking away my monthly parking fee at school, as well as saving me gas money. So it's a lot of different factors that help me financially. So it just relieves stress from me because law school is already extremely stressful, and taking away the traffic stress is just a bonus to my life. The Mark Student Saver program allows me to achieve my lawyering dreams by creating a very expansive budget for me. So I'm able to spend a little bit more on groceries, or, you know, do things that I wouldn't be able to do by compared to if I was commuting every single day by car. When I'm driving, I really feel the 30-minute drive. Whereas when I'm on the train, I just kind of feel like I'm teleporting to my location. That's the best way I can explain it.
Hi, I'm Holly Arnold, Maryland Transit Administrator. Every day, Marylanders rely on MTA to take over 100,000 trips to get to work, to school, and back home safely. And every ride, no matter how long or how short, should feel safe and respectful. That's why we're launching the Code of Conduct, which we're also calling Rules of the Ride. It's a new campaign built around something simple: treating each other with respect while we travel together. We're setting clear expectations for rider behavior based on what you told us you need to feel safe and comfortable on your transit ride. The rules of the ride include courteous behavior, for example, like wearing headphones or keeping your bags off seats. Prohibited behavior includes stealing, damaging property, or engaging in any kind of harassment. An assault can result in a temporary or permanent ban from using MTA services. We're working to make transit the best choice to get there. Thank you for respecting the rules of the ride. They help to make everyone's trip better.
Transit riders, is up to us to earn the respect of other passengers.
And the best part of earning respect is it's easy to do.
When you follow the Maryland Transit Administration's rules of the ride,
you know to always take your trash with you.
Use headphones to keep your sound to yourself. Speak softly when you're on the phone.
And be sure to keep your bags and feet off the seat when you're in transit, so others will always have a place to sit.
Of course, knowing what's prohibited is just as important as being courteous.
So no eating, drinking, or smoking on MTA vehicles, please.
And harassing someone or damaging property is never permitted.
You should also know that fighting, assaulting, or threatening someone can get you banned from taking transit.
Thank you for respecting the rules of the ride.
They help to make everyone's trip better. A message from the Youth Transit Council of the Maryland Transit Administration. Find out more at mta.maryland.gov/safety.
Modernizing transit also means investing in infrastructure. One of the agency's most ambitious projects is the Light Rail Modernization Project. Project Director Allison Scott joins us to explain what improvements are coming and how they'll enhance service. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So can you give us an overview of the Light Rail Modernization Project?
Absolutely. So in 2024, MTA won a competitive rail vehicle replacement grant, which brought $213 million to our agency to modernize and replace our existing vehicle fleet. Beyond that, the program also consists of modernizing our stations and track, upgrades to our maintenance facilities, and replacement of our traction-powered substations, which provide the power to the light rail system.
And how will these upgrades impact the long-term reliability and efficiency of the system?
Great question. So if you ride the rail today, our patrons often experience long time between trains. That can be because our vehicles are out of service for maintenance or an accident. Additionally, it takes time for people to walk up and down the steps, boarding and alighting from our trains. And so with the new low-floor vehicles, we'll be able to speed that process up. And a whole new fleet means we'll have all of our vehicles hopefully ready for service every day.
So when will riders start to see these changes take effect?
So we will start seeing some tangible changes around 2028. Of course, the first thing everybody will be looking for will be the arrival of the new vehicles. We'll know that better once we have our partners on board.
Okay, so you said 2028 we'll start seeing some tangible changes. So this is a multi-year project. Can you give us any significant milestones that we should be looking out for?
Yes. So obviously, the first revenue or the first vehicle to be delivered to MTA will be a major milestone for us. Getting that first vehicle then through a safety certification process and into revenue service will be other milestones. Our Cromwell facility also has to be ready to receive that first vehicle when it comes. And our train control system, the new system, has to be in place for those new vehicles to arrive. So lots of different pieces putting together for that first new vehicle milestone.
Sounds good. And while all this is happening, we want to make sure that the riders who are actively using the system, they don't experience a lot of disruptions. So what do you all have in place for that?
Yeah, so we are working actively with our project management oversight office to make sure that as we plan to schedule any disruptions that will be necessary, that we do so in a coordinated fashion so that we can minimize disruptions as much as possible.
And before I let you go, I noticed that the modernization project team is led by women, and this is a field traditionally filled with men. So can you share something about that leadership team?
Yes, thanks for asking. That actually is something that's near and dear to my heart as a mom of two daughters here in Baltimore City. I feel as though this women leadership, we can provide a human factor to the projects. So I am a caregiver for children as well as my mother-in-law in assisted living. And so our leadership team works, I think, to understand the challenges of our entire community and really what this line represents and how important it is for people to get to their daily jobs and appointments. So I say that the women here are really leading the change for a more sustainable future for our children.
I love that, adding that woman's touch to transportation.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
It's a really good paying job.
The pay's awesome. Like that's why a lot of people stick around. You got people that have been here 30 and 40 years.
The pay is lovely.
I love the pay. The pay affords me my lifestyle. The money's here. You just got to get it. Yes.
Health benefits, vision, dental, great benefits. MTA provides us with great benefits.
Benefits are awesome. The best I ever had at any job before this.
Our health benefits are some of the best.
Lovely benefits. I would never give them up.
Once you get your foot in the door, you can advance to different levels.
They have plenty of opportunities for you to advance, whether it's in the training department, dispatching, management. So everything is up level. It all depends on how far you want to go within the company.
I vacation. I bought a home within my first 5 years. I now have my dream vehicle.
I was able to raise 3 kids as a single father off of the salary.
Continuing my college education through my job.
Put 2 daughters through college while working here, and bought a house, a couple of cars, bought them cars.
And I met my wife here, so I got married.
The satisfaction that I get from being a light rail operator is the feeling of I'm actually doing something and helping people.
Yes, I love what I do. I come to work every day. Love getting paid every Fridays.
Give it a shot. Come on board. We'll help get you through it.
They got so many ups, I can't even count one down.
Life is a journey, and you are starting to realize what choices you have ahead. This path you are on is the road to your future. Today's decisions help you discover your tomorrow. Every decision you make, even the smallest ones, will shape your life and the person you become in ways that you can't predict. Choose wisely.
See tracks? Think train. Visit oli.org to learn more.
From rails to roads, MTA is also upgrading its buses. Mark Burkhart is here to give us a look at the agency's new fleet designed for comfort, efficiency, and environmental sustainability. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us about this new bus fleet. How is it different from what we have now?
So our new bus fleet consists of hybrid and battery electric vehicles. This year, in 2025, we're getting 20 battery electric vehicles and 50 of the hybrid vehicles. It helps with that sustainability that we're looking for. On top of that, we've talked to our mechanics as well. We've taken a lot of their feedback with ease of maintenance to help us turn around, increase our reliability as well. So we've done things, have added like air-operated doors. We've listened to them and made an additional room inside of the engine compartment area, worked with the OEMs for things along those lines.
Mechanics are able to get in and get out and get the buses maintained.
Correct. It helps with our reliability on the street. Less buses will be broken down all the time, and it helps with reliability.
And how will these buses improve the rider experience?
So for our customers, we've added things along the lines. I'll just kind of start at the front of the bus and kind of work our way back. So we've added a larger bike rack that accommodates e-scooters and e-bikes that has the wider tires on top of those. We've added a closed circuit TV, a television on there as well. You get to see, it'll rotate and have the vision from all cameras that are on the bus. You'll be able to get to see all of those as they go through. We've added what's called the parent and child seat. It's basically a seat and a half to where an adult and a child can sit in the same seat without having the bump in the middle or somebody else crowding you and sitting down. It also adds a little bit of additional space on some of our crowded rails for some standing room. We've added additional flip seats up to accommodate strollers and carts. And then we've also made the rear door wider on one of our buses to help that reliability and on-time performance, to help exiting of the bus with our passengers.
Wow, that is a lot. And how do these buses reflect MTA's long-term vision?
So for the long-term vision, reliability is key, right? Making sure we get our customers from point A to point B safely and efficiently. So with the newer buses, the sustainability and the reliability, that's the MTA vision.
And do we expect to see any differences in routes with these new buses?
We do not expect to see any route changes for the buses. You'll see these buses on all routes.
That sounds great. Thank you so much for joining us.
And thank you for having me.
MTA recently celebrated Women's History Month, highlighting the incredible women who shape our transit system and the communities we serve.
From the front lines to executive leadership, women across MTA are being recognized for their contributions during the annual Women's History Month Symposium.
So every year for Women's History Month, we honor 5 dynamic women across MTA, providing them a platform to speak on their different experiences and what inspires them being women here at MTA.
The panel discussion, led by our very own Courtney Mims, focused on confidence and breaking barriers, especially when it comes to career advancement.
Men will apply to a job if they meet 25% of the requirements. And women will not apply unless they meet 100%. We have to learn from our brothers here and say, well, I meet at least 75%. I need to go for this because I can lead.
Organizers say the event is about more than recognition. It's about visibility across every role within the agency.
Women work on all different levels here at MTA, whether they are working in the maintenance facilities, whether they are working in the offices, or whether they are working in the executive level. It's important for women and all members of MTA to see women in different lights and different aspects, because we can do anything.
That visibility is especially meaningful in a traditionally male-dominated field.
More men at MTA than women, so we have to stand out for us, and just as much as men do, we can do it as well. Because I kind of uplift the young lady that's at our base, that she's becoming a mechanic. That's a good thing for women. You don't find too many women mechanics.
The event also celebrated standout achievements, including Sherelle Doughton, who recently won the MTA Bus Rodeo competition.
I like to compete. I don't give up. I don't give up, and I had to beat Antoine. I did it last year, but I placed second last year, and he just was so cocky. And I was like, women can do it, I'm going to do it. So I kept going, practicing. My days off, I was up there practicing, but I did it. And I'm gonna do it again. Now I'm going to be internationals.
For many, the journey hasn't been easy. but perseverance remains key.
My predestination led me into transportation, and I love transportation. So even though you get that discouragement, you get the hiccups, but you just have to stay focused and have a clear perspective, because at the end of the day, it's about your life.
And for others, the work itself is about making a difference in the community.
One of the things that is really important to the core central part of our work is making sure that we bring in the rider and their voice into the work across every stage of project.
The symposium also encouraged women to stay resilient in the face of setbacks.
I like to take more of an active approach. I think it's very important that when you have a setback in life, whether it be at work, your personal life, you don't dwell on it, you don't let it defeat you. So you take a minute, whether that be a minute that you need to get grounded, have your minute to have those emotions or whatever it may be, and then I think it's important for you to look forward.
Organizers say the goal is to inspire the next generation of women within MTA to grow, lead, and break barriers.
The Women's History Month Symposium is important because it showcases the diversity of women among MTA. We have women in our leadership level, we have women on our front lines, and it motivates other women, whether they want to go for a supervisory role or they want to transition to a different field. It's important for them to see women in different roles so that they can also feel like they can also do it themselves.
Leaders say events like this not only celebrate accomplishments, but encourage more women to step into leadership roles and new opportunities. I'm Austin Todd, reporting for Commuter Connections.
Now it's time to check in with Social Media Manager Chris Moore for this edition's Social Media Minute. Welcome back, Chris.
Thank you for having me, Courtney. Excited to be here and excited to talk about something that's going to make transit even simpler for our customers.
Okay, tell me about it.
So within the Charm Pass app, which has been around for a while, there is now a QR code function which allows you to pay for your ride.
And is that basically working like the ticket?
Yes, precisely. So once you open your app, there's going to be a QR code. It's going to be a unique QR code for you. You're going to tap that code. You're going on the metro station. Once you tap it, your ride is paid for.
So we understand that some people may not feel like they're tech savvy enough to use QR codes. Do you have any advice for them?
First of all, we totally understand their concerns. And yes, I do have some advice. Just make sure your Charm Pass app is completely and fully updated. Once it's updated, find that QR code. If you have that QR code, you're good to go.
All right, sounds easy enough. Let's give the viewers a closer look.
Hi, I'm Chris. At the Maryland Transit Administration, we're always looking for ways to make your ride easier. That's why we're adding a feature to let you open the Metro Subway fare gate by scanning the QR code on your Charm Pass mobile transit app. If you already have the Charm Pass app, there's no need to download it again. You're all set. Just remember these 3 simple steps: purchase, activate, and scan. Use the Charm Pass mobile app on your phone to purchase your fare securely with a credit or debit card. Activate your ticket before approaching the fare gate. Once activated, a one-way ticket is valid for 2 hours on local bus, light rail, and Metro Subway services. Once you're at the Metro Subway fare gate, enlarge the Charm Pass QR code. Then hold the QR code at about 1 inch from the gray scanner that sits on top of the fare gate. The 2 fare gates closest to the station attendant's booth are equipped with scanners. When you see the green light and the gates open, walk on through. Because now you're ready to roll. And when it's time to exit, just approach the fare gate and walk on through. It'll open automatically with no need to show your Charm Pass again. And that's how the Maryland Transit Administration is making it easier than ever to make transit your #1 choice for getting around.
That wraps up this edition of Commuter Connections. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.